Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. First, I'm going to give a shout out to A. Johnson and Pensy for the Cash App donations within the last 24 hours. Actually, within the last 12 hours. From the bottom of my black heart and the depths of my black mind, thank you. One of my relatives alerted me to these because the Cash App goes to a family account. It's not mine. I only know about the donations once they tell me. So if I'm late thanking any of you, that's why. If you send anything to my crypto, any one of my wallets, I can see it. I can't redeem it yet because in Saudi, I don't think they've got Bitcoin ATMs yet. Some of them are listed on the map, but they're not actually there. And if they are, they're not anywhere near where I live, so I can't do that. I can't redeem them for cash and start to spend them yet. So if you send something to that, still, thank you. You're helping me in the future. So yeah, sure, I'll take anything you can send. Ethereum or Bitcoin or XRP. Either one's fine. Bitcoin is the most commonly used, and that's why I put it first. But I mentioned finances because there's a major financial point that I want to make to all of you. We, like I said, are only accountable as men collectively for being too easy. Nothing else. Everything else we're wrong for falls under that umbrella. Individually, there are men that are wrong for certain things. Yes, as individuals, but collectively, we men are only wrong because we're too easy, sexually and non-sexually. We still are, even in the manosphere to a certain extent. Melanie King's donations should stop. She should not be able to get donations anymore. Now, as a man who can't monetize my channel and wouldn't make a whole lot if I did, let me tell you all, and I'll try the Patreon. I don't know if it works in this country or not, but let me just tell you all straight away that as a man who can't do it, I'm not saying this from a position of jealousy because I couldn't anyway, but I'm saying this actually from a position of jealousy on your behalf. You guys can't usually start up like this and start making money the way that women can. You have to invest in editors, intros, outros, all of that. You must invest in these things before you get any dough. The ladies can start with very little and then get the money and then put it into these things and then just get more money. Now, there are ladies that rock with us, and I don't think that there's a reason they should not find any profit at all in doing this. I do think, I don't think there's a problem with Shay Sharday. I'm not aware of it. Chantel Simone, I'm not aware of her having any troubles. I'm not aware of her, just jumping on men and turning on men. Crimson Q has been rocking with us for years, and I think she should be able to make dough from that. She did say something some years back that was kind of foul, but I don't know if she was making money from it anyway. And she wasn't the only one. So was a man. And if we were on point, their donations would have stopped at that point until they left a particular point that was foul. She has since left that point. So I would consider her to be back on track. I don't know of any time in the past few years of her saying a point as stupid as the one that she did say a while back, and Don Calypso knows what that point is. Angry Man made it too. But Miss King should not have any more. And if we catch men donating anything other than, I don't know, maybe $2 just to troll the super chat, we should invalidate those men. If you catch me doing it, invalidate me. Revoke my card. She should have to get another job. Maybe she has one, but she should definitely have to go into another one full time. Absolutely, she should. She has advocated for men, but understand that That still comes with conditions. There are guys advocating for men and we're hard on them. Hold it to the same standards. A man did not hostilely ask her a pointed question. He politely asked. And she seemed, from some information that came out, she actually had a valid reason to answer his question. She could have used and satisfied it. However, she didn't. Even when it was a valid answer, she got triggered. And she got hostile. And went straight to exactly what it was that we're sick of. I talked about this already yesterday. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I want to point something out to you, gentlemen. Collectively, the Western black woman has played a game on us. She's been involved in a conspiracy. Now, they can't conspire easily because they don't like each other. So for them to easily and successfully conspire against anyone or anything else, they must have an even greater hatred for that than they have for each other. They have, if you were 30 or above, you went through a time in your adolescence in which you thought that you were doing worse with women or girls than other guys were. Who taught you that? So they all had you understanding that they're not SLUTs, but they're not all virgins either. So if you're not getting in them guts, it's because of you. They all had you thinking this when in fact it was most dudes. Should you have gotten in their guts? Not when you weren't married. I'm not saying you should have fornicated, but understand their attitude is not one of chastity. It's one of emasculation, and that's the difference. And they participated in this. So that you and you and you and I and you and you and him and him and him and him and you and him, each one would individually secretly think we were doing worse than other dudes, not knowing that the next guy that we would have assumed would do better than us was doing as badly. Because they all they went through the effort to put this into each one of our heads individually and make sure that we knew the pat answers that would come if we tried to have a discussion with each other about it. Well, it's just you. You need to choose better. Change what you're doing. It's your shoes. It's your breath. No, turns out it's none of these things. How do you know? Don't believe me? Not sure where I'm going with this? First, let me thank Saeed A. Saeed for what he sent to me in Facebook Messenger. Assalamu alaikum, brother. It was a link to Average Man Unplugged's video from about 14 and a half hours ago as of my recording this. It's the one in which he shows us that he's applied for the passport. He read a story in which a man who was quite dark and original looking tells us about how black women were the ones that made fun of his color. Now, I thought about this. I don't assume this guy's very old. I thought about it and I realized, you know what? I know that black women don't organically have a problem with dark-skinned, original-looking black men. Not organically. They were pretending. And it dawned on me. They were doing that in my case too. They're not organically turned off by lighter-skinned black men. They pretended. Now, of course, they could brainwash themselves into actually being turned off because they want to go with the hive mind. But organically, naturally, neither one of these is a turn off for them. A woman can have her preferred complexion, sure. But organically, neither one is a turn off. They were pretending. You too black. She was pretending. They were saying stuff they didn't really believe themselves. And how do we know? Okay, well, one, we, the manosphere, almost got into debates about whether women actually preferred darker or lighter skinned men because we had all experienced them showing us that we were either too light or too dark. That's because they were playing the same game against both. And if you were right in the middle of the spectrum and they couldn't play convincingly that game, then they came with something else. Kobe Bryant, let's say he was in the middle. He was tall and athletic. He was friend zoned. Brandy had a right to do that, but he was friend zoned. Brandy disappeared just a few years after friend zoning him. Disappeared for a weekend with a non-celebrity whose ass I beat in his driveway. I fought this dude when we were in high school. I didn't even overpower him. He gave up the fight because it wasn't going to be easy. He had always been a bully and a coward. I don't know what he's like as an adult. I don't care. It's too late. We can't reconcile. He should have changed when we were younger. But at that age, he was clearly coward, bully, looking for easy fights, running from fights that were a real challenge to him. Decided to try that mess with me. I uppercutted him, got him off guard. Walaikum salam. He realized it wasn't going to be easy. He called our friends to break us up. He may be about 5'11", 6. The point is that Brandy, that celebrity, later on, at a football game, had her security go to him on the sidelines because he was involved with the performance and entertainment. And then they disappeared for that weekend. And he showed up, because he was in college at the time. He showed up back on campus at the end of that weekend with new clothes on, telling people, smell my finger. So what I'm saying to you is that she was involved in taking one guy and, in a sense, later on proving that she lied about what her reasons were. And I'm saying this to tell you all that that's what you've been involved in this whole time. And that's why you're facing this, that's why you're facing these, this conflict that we're in. That's what it's about. It's about a bunch of lies from the very first place. She passed Kobe up. Now, she didn't know me and didn't know this guy either. And didn't know that he got his butt whooped and actually conceded defeat, surrendered, asked everybody to break the fight up some years before. She didn't know this, but she could have easily found out if she'd asked people. Then you look at not her rival, but Monica. They pretended to be rivals in that music video, The Boy Is Mine. Monica flying down to Louisiana State Penitentiary, also known as Angola, to marry someone with whom she could never consummate the marriage. Why is she doing that? She can have side dudes as long as they fuck the shuck up and don't tell everybody, and you know they're not going to. She can have side dudes. He can't have side chicks. How's he going to retaliate? She's always got a one-up on him. It's a power thing. That's who they are. Now, I'm getting somewhere with this. The deception is so that we would never realize what it was they were actually using to make these choices and these criteria. That's the whole point. Put certain ideas in your head to preclude you from questioning these things, and then they've got the shame ready, and you know what it's going to be when you start to ask the questions. That was the whole point from the very beginning. That's what it was. They know. They understand. They're well aware. If you knew what it was, if we understood this deception, then we would sit up and we would say to them, oh, okay, you're on a power trip. You're looking to practice hypogamy and hypergamy because you got a dual mating strategy anyway. So that's what you're looking for. And now you want us to be too ashamed to even ask questions. You want us to feel like we just don't measure up. And that asking the questions is a confession of not measuring up. Gentlemen, this is why they're bringing up the 19-year-old Brasilera in Minas Goiás. I think that's the name of the place. Who was a rare case of heteropaternal superfecundation. I know that's a long term. It's a medical term that describes what happened. Some of y'all know about this. She had twins, but they were each from a different father. And she just recently confirmed it with a DNA test. Yeah, that one. Sisters want to bring this up. Now, the only reason it made news was because it's very rare anyway. Where she lived, it's rare to do this and then to have this result. Both are rare. Where we live, it's not rare for someone to do that, but that particular result would still be rare, medically speaking. That's why it made the news there. It would make the news stateside. Maybe the result would, but not the practice. That'd be another episode of Maury. So since it made the news in Brazil, they decided to go ahead and show this. And somebody decided to try to slip it into Austin Holloman's super chat. He didn't know it was in Brazil at first. How was he supposed to know? That's not common there. And that's because they've been playing certain games. But then when you actually develop a perception that's normal based on what you can observe, then they come along and they want you to think that they want to make you feel like you're insane. Yes, we would see a story like that and assume that it was stateside. Some of you were still asking, well, was she in the States or was she back home? Turns out she was back home. But they're always trying to play on your ability to perceive the truth. And then when you do, they come with the exceptions so that they can sit back and say, I disprove the rule, because they want you to think that your perception, your ability to understand it is not there. That's what it is. That's the game. It's part of it. Well, that's the major part of it. That's its foundation. Gaslighting, I think, is a term for it. And that's why they want you to think that it's going to be the same everywhere you go. No, it's not. The same things exist everywhere you go. The proportions are vastly different. That's where Mr. Holloman is right. That's where I'm right. I don't tell you that these things don't exist. Hell, they exist here, and this is a conservative country in which I live. But would you find it? You're very unlikely. What you can easily, what will stumble onto you where you are now listening, you may never find even if you looked for it here. Whereas over there, it'll come stumbling up to you. Because it's bad, because it's the worst scenario, it's looking for someone to victimize, and it solicits you and the next guy and the next guy. And all you got to do is accept it. That's where the difference comes in. They want to sit up and say that because the same thing exists over there, that it's all a lie. The truth be told is that if the majority over there, wherever that is for you, were equally ratchet, then they would sit back and fuck the shuck up and let you fly over there and become victims of them too, because they're all on the same team. The reality is, because they're not so equally and abundantly ratchet, they fear that they're going to win. The ratchet ones fear that over there they will win. That's really what it comes down to. And they always have to go to the emasculation techniques. It's something about your manhood. That's why you're flying over there. That's what it comes down to. Remember that lady that said, yeah, we are disrespectful to you when you walk into the room because we don't feel safe. We know a real man when he walks in because we feel safe. You feel safe. You don't know that man when he walks into the room at all. You don't know him till you get to know him. Let men say that they can stand in a room and just look at the ladies that walk in, and we can just know a whole bunch of things about them as soon as they walk through the door and we see them for the first time in the first few seconds. Let us say something like that. Oh no, so you mad? You sitting there passing judgment without knowing. That's exactly what they're saying they can do. They're telling you they can do it. And the thing is that you have to believe in something spiritual to accept the premise that they've got a third eye that you don't have. They don't have one. Don't fall for that. The very idea, the very way we're conditioned to think is the result of one of the biggest conspiracies in humanity. I hope this helps. Thanks for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy till extinction or judgment day.